I'm Tom Prince with Western New York Athletics, and you're at our next edition of the Western New York Athletics Coaches Corner. I couldn't be more excited for the three coaches that are going to join me today. But before I introduce them, I just want to say listen, we've got the news today that there will no longer be sports for the spring season. I want to say to all the seniors, my heart goes out to you. My juniors, I don't care, first-time players, I don't care what the scenario is, my heart goes out to each and every one of you. And I want you to know this is the reason why we're doing this today. Because I was saying all along, it didn't matter whether they took the field or not, we wanted to recognize these players. And now that they're not, it is more important that we're giving the coaches the opportunity to recognize their players and show how much they were going to appreciate them being on the field this season. So with that being said, I want to introduce the coaches that I have for today. Joining me from Sweet Home, John Campolo. John, thanks for joining me.
Thank you.
From Wilson, Mark Kurtz.
Thank you.
And from Eden, Eric Cooper.
Nice to see you, Tom.
Hey, thanks, guys. Thanks for joining me today.
Thank you.
So we're going to get right into the first question right now. My first question is going to be based on strictly numbers. Now, numbers don't tell the full story. I get it, right? But it does tell us a story about certain things. And what the numbers say is that your batting average at an 0-0 count before you get the first strike, you are aggressive on that first pitch, your batting average is 345, is what they say. Then, if hitters take that first pitch, they will actually take a 21-point hit to their batting average from 345 to 321. And they will not get the opportunity to return to the same odds of success until the count actually gets to 2-1. So my question is, are you a believer of being aggressive on the first pitch, or the numbers don't tell the full story and you really have a different philosophy, which is, like I said, no right or wrong, but it just talks about different philosophies and why. So, John, let's start with you on this one.
Coach Demon and myself have talked about this with the numbers. We've looked at it. We want our guys to be aggressive. We like them to be aggressive, but we also like them to take their pitch. We want them to take those first two strikes. We want them to be the damage swings. So it's got to be where they like the ball. If it catches them on the corner and they don't swing, they get a strike. Okay, they still get another strike. They come back with their damage swing. That's what we look for. So we like them to be aggressive, but at the same time, we want them to take their pitch. So if they don't like the first pitch, we're okay with that.
There you go. There's a good one. Mark, how about yourself on this one?
Yeah, we kind of look at the same thing. I always tell them to be aggressive, but also, they should be looking for their pitch. So looking for that fastball, looking for where they want it, and really to take a good aggressive swing at the pitch. And so that's kind of our approach as well.
Okay. Eric, how about yourself on this one?
We much along the same lines of the other two coaches. We teach a zone concept where we start with a small box, and we're looking for our kids to be locked up and loaded, ready to attack that pitch if it's there in that small zone. Obviously, with an open count, they can take that much more aggressive swing. It's not a behind in the count at bat type scenario. If that first pitch is a strike and they've taken a good solid hack, but they haven't made contact, as they go a little bit deeper in the count, that that box that we talk about gets a little bit bigger. It's worked well with our aggressive kids over the years, and I would have to say that the numbers definitely do represent themselves. If they're ready to attack that pitch, they're going to put that ball in play most of the time.
That's a great one right there. I also think it's something that I preach in the travel teams is, listen, if somebody's going to throw you some sort of off-speed junk pitch as that first pitch for a strike, tip the helmet, right? And that's whereas I don't want you being aggressive on that pitch. Mark, you said it, looking for the fastball, right? That's the pitch I'm looking for right there to jump on and be aggressive. I'm not necessarily looking for them to jump on some sort of junk pitch that could, possibly come in for a strike or not.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's hard for a lot of them to throw 3 off-speed pitches at one at bat for 3 strikes. So if that happens, you definitely tip your cap, and they did a nice job against you. So we're looking for that fastball, especially with less than 2 strikes on you, and really be aggressive towards that pitch.
Yeah, no doubt.
I agree. We just had that conversation while we were going during that week. Some of the kids, were like, "Why are you swinging at that curveball at a first strike? Why are you going after it? Like, unless you're dialed in, unless you got it, and you're in the zone, and you love it, and then we say go ahead." But most of the time, we had trouble hitting the curveball a little bit last year, so we're like, "Why are you taking that first strike in that curveball?" So I agree.
Yep, exactly, right there. So one of the big counts that seems to be an automatic period with any coach that's out there is the 3-0 count, right? It's like, I don't want you swinging at all. You talk to, and I'm not saying it's any of you guys, but even if you look at like a younger coach, they are not supposed to swing on a 3-0 count, period, right? Now let's look at the numbers there. They actually say the average on a 3-0 count is 407, the highest possible average there is in any of the accounts. So my question is a 3-0 count automatically don't swing, or are there reasons to go ahead and let a kid be aggressive on those to be able to capitalize on that 3-0 count and capitalize on what could be, especially a strike right down the pipe, right? So Mark, let's start with you on this one.
Sure. And I think my philosophies on this has probably changed a little over the years as well. But, it's a situational thing. But really, 3-0, I barely give the take sign anymore. They're again looking for their pitch. This is another one, like Eric said. Look for your pitch in that small little box and really be aggressive to it. And if it's there, go ahead, go swing. So that has definitely helped, and I think it helps the confidence of the kids too, knowing you're gonna let them swing in that pitch, but yeah, we're gonna be aggressive. You might not see that kind of pitch again in your next 2 pitches. So
yeah, exactly. So what made the switch go off to change the philosophy there?
I think I just over the years realized that they're missing out on that fastball that is really, they're going to throw right down the middle of the pipe. Why let that pitch go by? Go be aggressive. And again, you might not see that pitch again in that at bat. So go ahead. Instead of taking a walk, let's be aggressive and let's hit that ball hard.
Fantastic. Eric, how about yourself on this one?
Well, I was mentored by Bob Burnside, which that's about as old school as you can get. And he was always, 99.9% you're taking that pitch. I think I've adjusted also over the years where you look at it from a perspective of what's the game situation? Who do you have at the plate? I won't say we're thin in numbers, but I only have maybe 10 kids come out for my ball team, 11 kids, something like that on a yearly basis. So, if it's 3-0 and I've got one of my real good sticks at the plate, sure, the kid's going to get the hit sign every single time. And I tell them, be confident, be aggressive, but let's not, get crazy with what we're swinging at. The other side of it is, take a look at it from the pitcher's perspective. That kid's going to maybe take a little bit off, come with the fastball, and try to, just get it across the plate. That's a perfect pitch for you there. If it's maybe my number 8 hitter who's, had a lousy game, maybe he's in a little bit of a slump, I'll tell him to jam the plate and challenge that pitcher, make it even a little bit harder for the pitcher, and we'll look to draw the walk in that situation. But, it comes down to a whole bunch of, criteria that I'm examining all at once. What's the game situation? What do we need? Do we need a hit? Can we take a walk in this, scenario? And what hitter do I have at the plate?
Fantastic. Great answer right there. John, how about you on this one?
I have to agree with both coaches as far as situational. You know, the 3-0, this is when your pitchers usually make a mistake. So this is when they usually, like you were saying, they'll take a little bit off the fastball. They try to come in, and they don't want to walk anybody, so they're coming in right over the plate. Should be a hitter's pitch. But again, you're looking at the game situation. You're seeing if it's late in the game, do we need this runner on? What number is he in the lineup? How's he done in the game? Who's batting after him? How have they done? Very rarely will we give the take sign. But again, you have to look at it like this is a time where we teach a lot of discipline and being aggressive. So during, when we're in practice and everything like that, we're teaching the kids to be very disciplined. So they know better, than to chase after a horrible pitch. But typically, like I said, this is most of the time where your pitchers are going to make mistakes and you're going to be able to go after that one. And you got a good hitter up, you got to let them go after it.
No doubt, no doubt. So, wow, different philosophies. I mean, like I said, most people I think that are watching this are going to think it was an automatic, and 3 coaches here saying, no, it's not. So great answers right there. And Eric, I do love your little box scenario that you talk about there, because I think that's very visual to a lot of people. You can see that and they know exactly what you mean by being aggressive in this small, tight zone right there. So now we get to what I always allude to on the show, the fun part of the program, right? This is where you as coaches get to talk about the makeup of your teams. This is the team that would have had the opportunity to go play out on the field this season. And those are the kids that we're going to recognize. And granted, they're not going to take the field at this point. So let's recognize them and give you the platform to recognize them. So we're going to start right now with Eden. Eric, you've got right now a youth program that has been building up through the ranks. Your JV coach has been big right now in building up that youth program that you are now seeing at this level. And it is becoming stronger and stronger every single year. Eden is a very good team, and I know the numbers may not be there, but that core is very, very strong of players that you're going to have. Let's talk about the makeup of Eden.
So you're right. We've had a program that has done a wonderful job for us over the years with sending me kids that have excellent skills already. We've had a decent JV coach the last couple of years. He's been fantastic, and Brian Latempio. Unfortunately, he had to step away this year, so we had a former Hamburg alumni come in, and he was going to take over our JV program. Obviously, we only got a week into the scenario there. But I've got multiple kids who have been 3-year starters for me. Marty Barnak, he looks a little bit like Noah Syndergaard, long blonde hair, and throws pretty hard. Good kid, though. Unfortunately, as a sophomore, he dislocated his shoulder in football. And then as a junior for me, he dislocated his shoulder again. So he's missed out on a bit of baseball, and the kid each time has come back and played a massive amount of baseball in the summer. But I was really looking to see what he was going to be able to do as a senior this year. And unfortunately, it's not going to be able to happen, but great stick. The way that he dislocated his shoulder, he hit a bomb against one of the teams that was potentially maybe going to be caught. The runner in front of him had to hold up. And I ended up sending him back to a base. And as he was diving in, he separated his shoulder in the game. So it's been a shame that he hasn't been able to come back and actually have a complete season with us. Another kid that's a college athlete, he's going to play college volleyball, Alex Overhoff. He's been a 3-year starter for me. Great arm from the outfield, tracks balls really well, and was just kind of starting to come into his own as a hitter. He had his 2 older brothers played for me in the past, but just a great family, good athletes, and it's unfortunate once again that they're not going to be able to see their season through. I had twins on my team this year that have played for me the last 2 years, both pitchers. They play shortstop and third when they're not pitching. Those are Jansen and Jarek Rauker. And, just real good kids, very focused, hard workers. When they're not with me, they're out working. They get up at 4 a.m. to go milk cows and then come into baseball practice on Saturday morning. And they really have a tremendous schedule that they keep intact with the sports and the work and the school and all that. So, it's a shame to see them go. I had a brand new kid, well, actually one other that's been in my program, Tyler Krempe, and he was in one of my backups last year at second base. So he was just going to get a chance to actually step into the lineup and contribute and play on a daily basis this year. Great runner, great speed. And, once again, this was going to be his opportunity really to step in and make an impact. Unfortunately, obviously, today's announcement kind of puts that on hold. So one other, I had a brand new kid come to my team this year as a senior. He moved into the district, Jason Baker. He was just starting his career as a Raider as a senior. Unfortunately, that won't be the case. And this year, first time ever in my career, we had a foreign exchange student from Japan. And this kid was outstanding at baseball. So I don't know if they requested that he have skill in baseball. He was living with one of my other guys in the program. But he was just top notch, throwing about mid 80s right off the get-go. He had been throwing all winter with his housemate there. And I said, "What pitches do you throw?" And he held up 4 fingers and he ran them down, fastball, slider, changeup, curveball, and he could throw them all. And he had great command of them. So it would have been fun to see what would have happened there. Guys in my division were referring to him as Nomo, and we heard you're bringing in ringers from other countries, so it would have been a nice addition to the team this year. But he unfortunately had to go home, and obviously we're not playing. So. But that's a rundown of my seniors and just great kids. We always seem to have really, really solid, hardworking, really competitive athletes. And like you said, the numbers aren't very large, but the kids that I get are very easy to work with.
Right. Eric, what about some of the underclassmen? Any of the underclassmen that you would have been playing for you that you wanted to recognize also?
Oh, absolutely. We've got, really just 3 other players that were with us this year. One of them is a younger brother. His name's Noah Brosnick. His brother played for me last year and moved on to college, but he was going to be one of our pitchers this year, and he's also an outfielder. Ian McCauley, an outfielder also, and great wheels. The kid just can steal base after base, and it doesn't matter if it's stealing second, stealing third. He has the confidence to be a runner on the bases. So we were looking to be able to try to be able to implement his speed this year. He's a leadoff type hitter, smaller in stature, but sprays the ball everywhere and always seems to find the holes. And then I had a sophomore that was going to be up for me and probably was going to work into being the starting catcher for me this year. So, it's a matter of juggling with numbers here. I know most of the schools in my division don't have JV programs anymore. We're one of the few that still actually does run a JV program, and they end up playing mostly the Division III schools. Just because we don't have schools in our division that have JV programs.
Right. Well, that's a great team right there. Would have loved to see the players right there. You're about the 3rd or 4th coach right now that has said there's been an exchange student that's come in that nobody knew about that was going to do some damage. So
yeah, I've had some in the past that have tried to come and play, and they've never put on a ball glove before. That's a bit of a safety issue, but this kid could definitely play.
That's awesome. Okay, well, we're going to go over to Sweet Home. John, you've got a veteran team coming back led by 2 big seniors right now that was going to lead the way for you guys, right? And then the youth coming in behind them. But there was no doubt that you've had a team that was going to compete. And these 2 would have been pitcher, catcher, as well as your middle infield right there, would have been big for you this season. So let's talk about the makeup of Sweet Home.
All right. Well, last year, as you know, we had 12 players on varsity. We pulled up 1 just to pitch here and there because JV didn't have the numbers either. So we had low numbers last year. Our starting pitcher, I'd like to say we had 2 starters because one of them is one I'm going to talk about. One of my seniors, Shawn Romanowski. He was my ace last year as well as he's going to be this year. But him and Keith Murphy were very, they kind of went side by side. They could have been both number 1s last year. Keith went down with tendonitis after first game last year. So you lose a pitcher, and I saw how detrimental it is when you don't have the pitching and you don't have the numbers. We didn't have the depth. I think one of our strengths this year was the number of starters coming back, starting pitchers, and our depth and our speed. We only lost 2 seniors last year. I have 10 seniors this year. So that's going to be another hit that we lost 10 the year before. Pitching was definitely a key for us this year. I think Coach Denman, he works a lot with our pitchers as well. He's a pitching coach, but he works side by side with me. He's done a tremendous job, and I think he does real well with some of the pitchers that we have. Starting out with the one that you were talking about, one of the twins that was going to lead the way for us, Shawn Romanowski, 3-year starter. He's a pitcher. He was our number one. Throwing low to mid 80s. He had command of all his pitches. He looked fantastic in workouts. He's ready to go. He also was one of our top infielders, played shortstop, and one of our top hitters last year. He had co-MVP with his brother last year. And then you have Sean Gerber. Sean Gerber was another pitcher that we had, but he's also, he can play any position that you put him in. He's very athletic, plays very well. I feel bad for Sean because last year he went 22 innings pitched, no runs scored, and he went down with tendonitis towards the end and didn't get a chance to get in there. So he was ready to go. He was on top of his game, looked great. Another senior we had was Ethan Prosser. He was doing a lot of work in the offseason, looked great. He was topping out almost about 80. He was definitely going to be in our starting rotation. Would have loved to see what this kid could have done this year. Ian Pekorski, another senior returning. Solid pitcher. He's probably one of the fastest kids I've ever coached. He has a tremendous amount of speed. He covers so much ground in center field. He made some catches last year that I'm telling you, they were highlight reel catches. Unbelievable, the ground he covered. And then we had a returner this year. He was with us sophomore year, Kyle Newdorf. He went to prep school for hockey, very athletic kid. He came in and I was looking forward to having him on the field because he was unexpected. He pitches, catches, plays third base, shortstop, second base, solid player and a very strong hitter. He's a power hitter. He came in for a sophomore year, came up and pitched against Frontier and put him out there with bases loaded in the 6th. He struck out the side, comes back in the 7th. Strikes out the side, and we end up winning 5-4. So it's things like that you're looking forward to after a year gone. I'm like, wow, can't wait to see this kid as a senior. And then, of course, Shawn Romanowski. He was, the other twin brother. He's the catcher. Unbelievable. And he's been 4-year starter for me. Last year? I think he hit, or 2 years ago, he hit 420. Last year was about 400. Led the way for us in hitting. Just unbelievable behind the plate. He's a wall. He's got a quick release, strong arm, and it's very hard to steal on that kid. And then, a couple of my other seniors that I just kind of want to recognize because, after hearing the news today, I just feel really, it's heartbreaking. I have Ian Burgess. Ian Burgess last year, I wanted to see what he could do. Was looking forward to see what he could do with at the bat. He batted .333 for us. Had I think about 6 doubles. He looked like he was progressing. He looked real well in the workouts. I was looking forward to see what he could do. Then you have Jacob Kazes, worked hard in the weight room all year. Great second baseman, came in to pitch for us a little bit. He was ready to go and he was all in. He's also a multiple position player, can play in the outfield too. Matt Liska, DH and first baseman for us. Worked hard at just being more of a power hitter in the DH slot, and I saw improvement in workouts. And last year again, Matt came in the 11th inning against Frontier again. We go again with them, and we go into the 11th. He comes in to pitch, gets us out of the inning. We're tied up, and he comes back in. He's second guy up. He ends up getting walk-off single to win the game for us. So I'm sure he was holding on to that, and he was looking forward to see what he could do next year. And then the other one was Matt Carlene. Matt Carlene is probably one of the hardest working kids that we had in all the years I've seen. If everybody worked as hard as him, we'd have a championship team every year. Great kid, worked hard. Really going to miss him. He was the heart and soul of this team. So I'm going to miss these guys. I really want to see what they can do this year. I thought we could have contended this year.
Great job there, Coach. I'll tell you, one of the favorite games I think I've covered was I got a chance to cover an early season game, if you remember, for you guys. The snow is starting to come down. It's freezing cold out there, but your guy comes out and throws a perfect game with me right there.
Josh Weisbrecht against Maryvale. Yes, we were the only team playing, I think. Maryvale coach. Yeah.
I got out. It was, I want to say it was like high 30s. It wasn't, below freezing, but it was like, like 38, 37 degrees. I go, I'm going out to that game. I show up standing out there, and he's just mowing him down. Blair, they're like, about the fifth inning, you're like, is he really throwing a perfect game right now?
Yeah, it was unreal. That was a great game, and I'll never forget it because I remember that when we were talking, there was no win, so 39 didn't really feel quite like 39 because we were debating. But I know Ryan, he was like, I don't care, I want to play. I just want to play. So I'm like, all right, let's get out there.
That was awesome. Great job. Yep. Okay, now we're going to go up to Wilson. Mark, you've had a powerhouse player in your team year after year. It never fails. You've got some player that has to be recognized here in Western New York, and some of the best that have gone through. I also believe you play in a division that I think is underrated here in Western New York, that people do not give enough credit to, that Niagara-Orleans division. And I say it time and time again on these shows because it truly is some of the best pitching in Western New York comes out of that division. You had it 2 years ago when you had Ian Evans lead the way right now for you as one of the top pitchers in the area, no doubt about it. So now we'll talk about what the makeup of Wilson looks like would have been for this year.
Yeah, so obviously we lost a few guys, Ian from last year and Stephen Frericks, another pitcher that, we really had a good 1-2 punch. So, but this year we probably had our best week of practice to start off. Guys were working really hard. You could really tell the team bonding, and we had a trip to Myrtle scheduled for this year. So guys were really invested. And we like I said, I would tell them every day, another great practice. But last Saturday, who would have thought that would have been our last practice? But I said that was the best week of practice I think maybe we ever had. So we had a football field. The turf was put in this year, so we were out 9 o'clock at night in our shorts, t-shirt early in March, and that never happens, So, but yeah, so we have some seniors coming back. Patrick Seeley, he's going to go to St. Bonaventure. He's also a golfer for me, sectional golfer. But Patrick would have been our catcher, one of our team captains. This would have been his second full-time year playing for me. He also came up as a sophomore late in the year. Good hitter, had a good stick. Really looking to see how he could have improved, from last year's really first year, full year in varsity. So looking for big things out of him. Thomas Vaya, another one. He's going to St. Bonaventure as well. Going to take some communication classes. Hopefully we'll see him announcing some baseball games at some point. He loves the game. But Thomas is another one who came in halfway through his sophomore year. We had a little trouble with our third base that year, and we're looking for someone. Brought him up. He played great third base, added some really key hits, and really this would have been a big year for him as well. We have Declan Ferry. Declan, as many of you know from football, going to St. John Fisher. Declan, big, strong kid. Second year on varsity, I think, after seeing the pitching from last year and getting used to seeing that pitching, I think he's a monster. I thought he would have had he was looking great in practice. So looking for big things out of him. He also would have thrown quite a few innings for us this year too. So he would have been a key. Bobby Atlas, our quarterback in football, going to Hartwick. Bobby would have been our shortstop, probably thrown a few innings for us as well. Bobby's another big leader. So those four guys would have been our captains. They've been playing baseball, since with their dad. Bill coached the kids for a long time together. And so this year would have been a good year for all of them to really finish strong together. So kind of sad for those guys. We had a couple more seniors that came out really for the first time. They played baseball for a while. Braden Dunlap was one of them, another football player, but a good athlete, fast kid. So it was really going to be interesting to see what he could add to our lineup. Julian Andriola, he's going to St. John Fisher for football. He's another one that played a couple years ago, went to track, real fast kid. So see what he could have brought to us. Zane Feely was coming back. He hadn't played in a couple of years. And so those are our seniors, and I think great group, and would have added a lot of leadership for us. We have two 11th graders. Anthony Espenza. Anthony would have been the ace this year. Throws hard, and I was really looking forward to seeing how he would have grown up. He's only 11th grader, and I think he could have surprised some people. Michael Miller played last year as a sophomore, and again, with that experience, I would like to see where he could go hitting the ball. I think that would have been a big year for him. Then we had quite a few 10th graders that we were going to add on. Tyler Usett, Luke Atlas, Evan Mahar, Matt Carr, Chris Dispenza. A lot of guys that have played for quite a few years in our JV program, playing, when they were in 7th grade. So they've played a lot together. Mark Muyo coached the JV team for quite a few years for us. Always did a great job of teaching the fundamentals and the skills. So they come prepared. So his son Tyler became sick earlier in the year, would not have been able to play this year. So he would have been our quiet leader in the background there for us. And then we had a 9th grader, Noah Yearney, who came out, who was doing a great job. I think he would have probably been in the starting lineup, either in the infield or outfield. Not quite sure, but I think he trained all year long, and he was really looking strong. So I was really looking forward to this year. We didn't have that, that stud on the mound, the John Bender, the Ian Evans there, but we had a bunch of guys that were really gelling together and working hard together.
I'll tell you, it sounds like you got a lot of football players that crossed over. You've been having a lot of football, I
think. We do. As you know, with our school, these kids play 3 sports, and, those are I love coaching those kids. 3-sport athletes are great to have.
Yep, no doubt about it. In fact, we did that as one of our topics that we had before, the 3-sport athlete versus everybody now wanting their sport to be all year round. And the coaches will all say, college coaches, I want the 3-sport athlete. I want that kid that can excel in all different areas because he's shown he can excel in different circumstances, and that's the kid I want right there on my team.
It's a lot of versatility, they come with a lot of different skills, so you can usually find a spot for them somewhere. And plus they come with that competitive edge, so you gotta love those kids.
Exactly. Well, coaches, I want to say thank you so much for joining me on the Western New York Athletics Coaches Corner. That's my last question that I have. Seniors, again, my thoughts and prayers are with you all. I hope that you're able to somewhat at least put closure on it to know what the next step is. But just know our thoughts and prayers are all with you. Our hearts are with you. Everything's with you right now. And keep looking out, because we're going to be recognizing more and more of you here in Western New York Athletics. But coaches, thanks for joining me. And again, hopefully the next time we get a chance to talk, it's going to be us actually at a game that we're going to be able to do things. And hopefully that's going to be sooner than later.
You're great. Thank you, Tom.
Thank you, Tom.
Thanks, guys.